Nitro Elite, so we're just fractionally faster by just 2 seconds. Maybe that suggests that there really isn't much in it. Hello everybody, hope you're doing okay. Welcome to a place called Purbright near Guildford in Surrey. An area I haven't really run too much before in, so I'm going to try and do a few streets. But more important today, I'm going to do a bit of a Puma Shoeoff. I've got 3 Puma shoes that I bought in recent times. I've got the Liberate Nitros here. I've got the Deviate Nitro Elite, which is technically the fastest one. And on my feet, I've got the Velocity Nitro 2s. So they're a combination between a shoe that the Liberate Nitro was really sort of targeted, I think, by Puma as sort of like a budget shoe. But because it's such a light shoe, it's always become sort of like a default sort of cheap racer. Deviate Nitro Elite is clearly their top shoe at the moment. It's the shoe that Molly Seidel ran in the Olympics when she got the bronze medal in Tokyo last year. And the Velocity Nitro 2 is kind of their newish sort of daily trainer. I've already done a couple of reviews on that. I'll link to them up there. And so it'll be interesting to see how we go. They're all quite a sort of a soft feeling, all these sort of nitro foams. So first of all, we're going to do a little warm up. Then we're going to go into the Velocity Nitro 2. Then I'm going to put the Liberate Nitros on. I'm going to finish off with the Deviate Nitros Elite. So what I want to see is if the racing shoe, it does actually help me to go any faster than the other two. The Liberate Nitro should be a good shoe, but it's not a shoe that I really like to take too far. I've chosen a circuit that's about 3k, so it's fairly flat around here as far as I can tell, and it's really nice day today, nice sunny Saturday evening. So I'll try and do this about sort of 6:30 pace, a similar sort of pace that I was doing in my 5-mile race on Tuesday, another one I'll link up there. Okay, let's get on for the warm-up. Right. 5k warm-up done, or just over 3 miles. Well, slightly lost actually. I've found some nice little tracks through the woods and it's really dry still. So just do 1 or 2 little strides and then we'll get into this one. Thankfully now it's a bit cooler than it was. Okay, 2 strides done just to get a bit of feeling in the legs. About 6:30, 6:45 pace all day. Probably about my half marathon pace at the moment. Feeling a bit tired, but we'll see how we go. At least the weather's nice. So I hopefully got my heart rate up reasonably high from that 3-mile warm-up and those couple of strides. Danger always is that you start these things too fresh and then the first one is a bit skewed, but I've got the slowest shoes on in inverted commas first, or at least they should be. But as ever with these things, you sort of take these things according to what you see rather than what you feel. We'll start from the critters on the green pub here and do a circuit, and I hope I know the way. I think it's a bit of a cross-country route at some point, but it looks like quite a nice route. Hopefully it won't be too much on the road, busy road, but this time of night it's pretty quiet. I hope most people are in the pub if they're going anywhere. Well, definitely Cup finals just finished, don't know the score, so it was 0-0 when I left, and the night of the 10,000 PBs are on as well, so go watch that on Vinco's stream later. Hammer off. Lost a bit of this first lap in the Velocity Nitros. I'm working for this quite hard actually, so not much chat. And stop. Ooh. Yeah, so first lap done in the Velocity Nitro 2s. They feel sort of quite soft, but on foot, but surprisingly quick I think. I think that's, for a daily trainer, they're in my size about 330 grams. So they just feel a bit lighter than say the Pegasus, the Vomero 16 that I've been wearing a lot of late. And just because of the outsole is just not quite as rubbery, if you know what I mean. Just feels like you get a bit of spring off the road, although quite a flat spring off the road. These are sort of like a shoe that doesn't really help you that much. It feels like it's just quite a soft shoe, quite a nice shoe. But yeah, for that pace, well, I think I averaged about 6:30, 6:35 in the end. I was working quite hard though, so it's good in a way because I work hard in the slowest shoe. Then I'll see how the others react as we get faster. Okay, now we've got the Liberate Nitros in, and these are somewhat more minimalist. They still feel like the same sort of squishy-ish foam, but there's not much of it. So you kind of feel quite connected to the road on these, if that makes sense. I was using these last summer as like a grass stride thing, so this whacking great green here behind me would be ideal for that, but we're doing a predominantly road loop today. I just looked at the watch for the last one, it was about 6:27 pace, so yeah, that was a fair effort. That was pretty much the pace I was going at in the 5-mile race the other day, so yeah, no wonder I was working hard there, so that's good. At least I can actually do so. It was a slight tweak for my hamstring towards the end, so not tweak, but just sort of felt it, so you need to be slightly careful here. Right, let's get on with this one and report the way around. There's a nice little sort of lane cut through. I found us just used tennis courts, so let's see if I can get a picture of that as we go around. Okay, well into the Liberate Nitros. They feel a lot firmer on foot because there's so much less of them. I don't really then feel they're maybe the advantage is the lighter weight, but I think I also worked that first one quite hard. So we'll see. We're into a nice little country lane now. It's a nice little circuit, this one, actually. Here's the disused tennis court. As I say, what a nice little loop. These Liberate Nitros are starting to feel quite sort of firm. I can almost feel my heels a bit, which is probably means I'm struggling a bit, but I think I'm on pace. See you at the end, I think. Okay, Liberate Nitro's done. That was end up 7 seconds quicker than the Velocity Nitro 2s. I thought I was probably trying a bit harder, but the heart rate suggested I was 2 bits higher on that one, but the max the same, putting the stats up there, which is kind of what I would expect actually, because that first one was quite hard and the second one I felt like instantly had tired legs. So it's a good test, because sometimes I do these ones at more marathon pace, and if you're only running for 1.65 miles this is, it's about sort of half a 5k, just a bit over, about 2.6k, something like that. You need to put some effort in just to get a feel for how it is, because otherwise, you know, you're really just almost like jogging if you only do a mile and a half at marathon pace. Well, if I'm fit anyway. Right, so now we've got the Deviate Nitro Elites on. Only a little bit of yellow with these, but enough to get the theme. Very yellow. I started wearing yellow kit now. I think I just feel a bit safer in it. It's, you know, running around all these roads, and often having to run in the middle of the road because they're so narrow that you feel like you want to be seen rather than darting in and out of cars. This is a nice little circuit actually, no real traffic. You end up on the main road at the end, but there's a sort of pavement to the side, so no real problem here. And this is one edge of the village green. February's quite nice actually. Right, let's get on with this last rep then and see how we go. Okay, nearly a mile in the Deviate Nitro Elite. Let's turn onto this little lane here. They instantly feel the fastest on foot. You can really feel the plate in this one. Much more feeling like an X%, but not quite as significant. So my legs are pretty heavy now, but I feel like I'm being helped here more than the other shoe. Velocity Nitro's just soft, daily trainer. Liberate Nitro's just sort of light, sort of cheap really, I have to say. And yeah, nice little shoe to have. But yeah, we'll see how we go in these. About half a mile to go. Little drag up this main road actually. Let's put the camera down and talk it in. Okay, so we're all done. Deviate Nitro Elite. So we're just fractionally faster by just 2 seconds, but as I said, I was trying to maintain an even pace. Although it was actually going quite high. I think my average heart rate may have been 1 bit higher. So maybe that suggests that there really isn't much in it. I mean, it just felt like it was better lift off in the Deviate Nitro Elite. Although props have just feel like a slightly heavier feeling on foot than the Liberates, but definitely felt it had more cushion. There's quite a good contrast between the two actually, because the first one was just like having the Nitro and that EVA at the bottom in the Velocity Nitro 2s, just sort of like a soft shoe, quite a sort of like a lightweight shoe for a daily trainer, then going into a sort of fairly minimalist by the modern day standards Liberate Nitro, and then a shoe that's almost a combination of the two, having the same sort of foam as the other two, maybe just a bit more with that plate in the middle. Just sort of gives that feeling that you just got slightly more pop to your stride. But did the stats show that? We'll have to go and have a closer look at the stats. I think all in all, I would say that I would prefer the next % definitely for my races. I don't think there was any doubt over that. But yeah, these shoes all have their place. I think I've all been using them a fair amount. That's the first time I've really tried in the Deviate Nitro Elite actually. Sort of, I got them during my hamstring problem spell, so going out for a little jog in them with a dodgy hamstring wasn't the best of tests. But yeah, they performed well today. Might be interesting if you'd gone out a bit further in them and see how they are. They obviously are meant to be a marathon racing shoe. I think if I was given them and I was given the next %, I think I would feel like I was shortchanged if I didn't have the next %. But obviously I'm not sponsored by Puma or Nike or anybody, so I can say what I like. Puma have obviously got some new shoes coming up. I think it's the faster something, and I think the Deviate Nitro Elite 2 is coming up. But yeah, hard to see where they're going to go with it really. I mean, the faster one looked like it just had more stack and almost a sort of like a cutaway middle, a bit like the Adios 2 Pro, but taking it to an even further extreme. But I think it's all about the foams, and for me, I don't think anyone's really surpassed the feeling of the Zoom X. I mean, other companies like Saucony have used the P-backs as well, but not really to quite the same effect. It's a much sort of firmer feeling with the Saucony shoes. And I heard a rumour that the Asics Metaspeed Sky Plus and Edge Plus may be coming out this time in UK 13 and UK 14. So our sort of bigger feet runners like Andy the FOD runner, Jamie's running, and myself obviously, my friend Mike Boucher as well, and a few others that regularly contribute to my comments will be hopefully, well, possibly glad to hear that. That means we may need to fork out £225, and then which one do we get? So that's another interesting topic. Also on channel news, I've just signed up with a new coach. Well, not a new coach, somebody I've actually worked with before, but not really on a more formal basis. This time a more formal basis. So I won't go into anything about that until we actually start and see how it goes. But yeah, I thought I needed a bit of direction with my running, because now I've got back into training again. I think I felt I was just sort of drifting back into running sort of easy every day, and thinking, well, at some point I need to actually decide if I'm actually going to be a racer, because there's so many good people at the moment, like my friend Mark Shepherd did a 16:38, it was his fastest time for 14 years, and he's an M50, so he was disappointed. And there's me running a 19:16 the other day, and this was a guy that I was always very close with back in the day, and also people like Steve Winder locally, very same, sometimes I could beat him. And Terry Booth, who's just coming on year on year really. I mean, he used to be a 29-minute 10k runner, had all these sort of 30s out, came back, took a lot of weight off, he's running just astronomical miles, races a lot, but that's what he does for training. So it's just interesting to see these sort of fellow 50s and 55-year-olds doing so well. And in that Vets race the other day at the 5 mile Battersea Park race, I was only 8th in my age group, M55, although I was 27th overall out of about 90. So when you go to those races, you kind of think, oh, you always compare yourself to the best vets, you know, because you think that's what you should be aspiring to do. I think, well, in a way, perhaps is that right? Because when I was a senior, I mean, I was perhaps always trying to aspire myself to the people who are winning the races, but they might be internationals running 27 or 28 minutes for 10k, and there was me running 32 at my best, or on the track when I was doing my 3:55. Well, I mean, there was people running a mile faster than that. Now looking back at it, you were pleased with those times, but you know, at the moment, running a 19-minute 5k and being pleased with it, you kind of think, well, it's okay for now, but I'm not going to have many more years left, but when 19-minute 5k will be the ultimate that I can do. So yeah, so I thought about time I sort of had one last sort of little go at it, and maybe not more training, but just more focused. Like tonight, I mean, like that was good 3 by 1.5 miles, sort of like at race pace. It's equivalent of running that 5 mile race the other day with an interval. So otherwise I might have just gone out for a run 10 miles easy, which all helps, but I can do 10 miles easy tomorrow. So I think if you want to race well, you really have to sort of put in some work. I mean, there's also the element of, they all say run easy on your easy days to make your harder days harder. And I think I've perhaps got the easy days easy sort of more or less right now, but I'm not really doing the hard days. So that's the trick that we need to work out. Anyway, I hope you found this interesting, and we'll go on to the spreadsheet and have a look at that and see what we can see any minute now.
Okay, so this is the segment I did for the testing here. Started outside the Cricketers pub at the Purbright Green, then I went along here down Chapel Lane. It's pretty flat along there. It eventually turns into sort of like a country lane. Then we take a right turn into White's Lane. It turns into a little track for a little bit, then emerges as a tarmac path again past that disused tennis court that we saw there. Slightly downhill here, and then we go back onto the main Guildford Road back towards Purbright. There's a pavement on the right hand side that I was able to take. Slightly drag uphill here, which is this bit here, and then we turn a right here, and then on the green to finish where we started, outside the Cricketers pub. Okay, so this is a spreadsheet. So I did the 3 runs. First one, the Velocity Nitro 2, which is technically the slowest shoe. That would be like the daily trainer. Then it went into the Liberate Nitro, which has sort of become their sort of budget racing shoe. I think it was really, as I said in the video, designed to be their sort of a shoe to go a few miles for beginner runners. I think because it's quite a light shoe, it's kind of morphed into a shoe that sort of shoe tubers and enthusiasts have been using for sort of like faster up tempo runs for short distances. And then the out and out carbon race of the Deviate Nitro Elite. So in theory, this should have started off quite hard and got progressively easier. Now, what I tried to do in this Shoeoff is run the first one, whatever pace feels right, and then run whatever comes after it more or less the same speed, and then just see what the heart rate does. So in this one, I think, as I said, I got that quite about right. I was aiming for about 6:30 pace, and I got a time of 10:36, 6:27 pace, and my heart rate was 141 with a maximum of 151. Now, against a maximum heart rate at the moment for me of 162, that's quite hard work, and that felt like it was sort of similar to the 5-mile effort that I did in the race on Tuesday. But it's interesting that, you know, these are daily trainer allegedly, but yeah, that sort of worked out quite well. So then I turned into the Liberate Nitro and I ran them 7 seconds quicker. I didn't really deliberately do so. I was just trying to match the effort on field with a bit of occasional glances at the watch, and you can see that the heart rate went up 2 beats, perhaps because I was 7 seconds quicker, although the maximum was the same at 151. So I kind of felt that there wasn't really much to choose between the two shoes. I was a bit tired there, but then the Liberate Nitros are a bit lighter, and yeah, you would think they should be faster, but as I said, there's not a huge amount of foam underneath there. But yeah, you did sort of feel that that's not perhaps the ideal shoe for that sort of effort, but yeah, it worked out quite well. And if you actually look at the splits here, on Chapel Lane I was identical at 252, very similar heart rate average. White's Lane was again pretty similar, and Guildford Road again pretty similar. So I think trading off a very slight increasing speed with an increasing heart rate, but also with heart rate drift, you kind of expect that anyway. So I would say a bit of a score draw there. And then when I put the Deviate Nitro Elites on, I felt like instantly they felt much more like, say, the Next Percent, in terms of I could feel that sort of the foam combined with the plate. It just felt more sort of bouncy, as it were. Not quite as bouncy as the Next Percent, but it's odd here that the times don't really reflect the fact that it felt easier. Maybe that's because it was the last one I did and I was already quite tired by then, but there wasn't really a huge uplift here, and you can see that these split times, 1 second difference there, 1 second difference there, and 1 second slower actually there. So really, this is pretty much the same effort, just 2 seconds out. The average heart rate went down 1, so did the maximum. So maybe you could read into that there was a slight advantage there, but you know, that's so close to be almost experimental error, as it were, on the sample size of just me running 1 rep. So I would say, really, that for the money, the Deviate Nitro Elite, I think it's about £170. You can probably get the Liberate Nitro well under 100 if you looked hard enough, and the Velocity Nitro is about £100 as well. So, yeah, is the Deviate Nitro really worth all the extra money? Well, it's not a bad shoe, but it's certainly no Next Percent for me. And, yeah, not a bad shoe to run in, but in terms of, like, giving you a huge lift, well, didn't really see it here. So I would say it's interesting that all these 3 shoes, really not much to choose between them, despite the fact that they've all got slightly different use cases. So that in itself was quite an interesting test. Maybe I need to do more testing this, maybe take out the Deviate Nitro Elites for a bit longer, because you would think that they would start to shape up better than definitely the Liberate Nitro, which always feels that you don't want to take that one out for too long, especially on the road. I think I tend to enjoy that more when you're sort of doing trail runs. It might sort of take over from the Adios back in the day, if I had an off-road park run, something like that, because it's a bit grippy and it's light and it's sort of fairly flexible, but doesn't really have that pop with no plate and not too much foam, so you feel like you're having to do quite a lot of work there. And the Velocity Nitro 2, for a daily trainer, I think it's quite nice. It's probably a bit more than a daily trainer. I think it's more of sort of a cross between a daily trainer and a tempo shoe. So I just felt that it's nice and soft, but after a while you're kind of thinking that is this really helping you? And some days if you want to go out for a long easy run, that may be a bit overkill. Yeah, but all these shoes are interesting diversion from the my normal sort of Nike stable in Saucony and Adidas. So good that another player comes into play here. And interestingly, you pay your money and don't necessarily take your choice here, I think. So yeah, anyway, hope you found this interesting. Like and subscribe with that, and look forward to seeing the next one then. Bye. So you might think with a road name called Avenue de Cagny, we're actually in France, but I can assure you we're actually in Surrey in deepest England.